Hi, everybody. I'm Alice K. Ruckelhaus from SufferingWell, and I just wanted to hop on real quick to answer a question that you might have. Um, we haven't heard this from anybody yet, but in our research on Second Chronicles 7:14, we looked at different articles and different studies and word studies and everything to come up with how to best approach this and apply this over the next year. And one article that we ran across, and I wouldn't be surprised if there are more out there, was saying that they wished that people would stop using this verse to say that this is what we need to do to call on God to heal our land. They're talking about specifically our country and everything. And I understand where they're coming from because they're saying, this was given to a specific people, Israel, and it had to do with coming to. Hi, hold on just a second. I'm in the middle of recording something. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So they're saying that this had to do with specifically with Israel and God making a promise to his people when they come to this place, which was the temple. And so, yeah, I understand that. And I think that we can answer this question without anybody getting their panties in a knot. There are some Christians who believe that Christians are the new Israel, and then there are some who don't. I don't think either of those things particularly matter in this case because we're not saying God is promising that if we do these things, that he will answer our prayer and do what we want. We've actually talked about that a little bit in our introduction to the How prayer because we talked about how God's not a vending machine. We don't get to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then he has to do what we want. It's not that way at all. And whether or not God has promised this to us, whether or not being called by his name includes being called Christians, Christ, little Christs, people who follow Christ, whether or not it has to do with that isn't really the point. The point is that these are the types of things that God has asked his people to do, and God doesn't change. So we're not saying, hey, if we do these things, then God has to do what we want, or even that he's promised to do what we want. What we're saying is these are the kinds of things that God has asked his people to do before. So we know those are the kinds of things that he would want to see from us. And even if you couldn't quite say that, do you think that God would have a problem with any of these things? With being called by his name, with humbling ourselves, with turning from our wicked ways, from seeking his face? All those things are things that we know for sure that God wants us to do. So it's kind of at the very least, there's no harm in doing it, but really he has indicated all throughout the Bible that these are the kinds of things, these are the ways that he wants us to come to him. Really, when we're asking for anything, we should be seeking his face. We should be wanting a relationship with him, which includes wanting to know what his will is. We should be humbling ourselves. We should be praying. We should be turning from our wicked ways. And so, anyway, I hope that answers that question. And if you hadn't already thought of it, well, now you have. And you have the answer just in case anybody else brings it up to you. So what we're hoping to do is gather as many people as God wants to bring to us this coming year to pray this way and ask for healing in our world. And again, no guarantees. We want God's will, not ours. Our will may be that the world gets healed. Maybe he has another plan. All right. But we're going to come to him, and all these things cannot hurt. At the very least, they cannot hurt. All right. I love you all, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.